Hi, welcome to the breadboard. Today we have a Sunfounder Zeus Car kit to assemble. I've had this for a little while on my desk. About time I got to doing the assembly and showing you what it's about. It's based on an Arduino UNO. Now you've seen me assemble cars in the past and have a play with them and look at what's in them. This one's a little different because it has these weird kind of wheels on it, and it's also more up to date. You can pick this up from Sunfounder via various sources. I'll put links in the description for about $100 to $150 depending on where you're shopping and depending if it's Canadian or American, etc. But that's not what we're here for. I'll provide the links anyway, but what we want to do is have a look at the kit. Some of the initial things right off the bat that I can see is it's got a metal frame instead of an acrylic one. We've got a camera, we've got the Arduino underneath here, presumably a 328p, and we have an adapter for driving everything. It looks like on the picture that we've only got two motors, but based on what this thing is supposed to be able to do, I think we might have a couple underneath that are hidden. Well, anyway, we'll find out as we go through the assembly. Before we get started, this is the Sunfounder website. You can see here you can pay with PayPal to buy one of these. It's available on Amazon, or you can buy it directly from the website. Current price looks to be about $110. I'm not sure if that's US or Canadian. I'm not logged in, so probably US dollars. This is the car, a little bit of info about it, different shots. ESP32 camera, we've got the interface hat on the top, LiPo 18650 batteries, sensors, ultrasonics, line following, infrared, obstacle avoidance, etc. This is an educational platform for kids, teens, adults, anybody capable and competent in assembling this, or if you're not quite, maybe with an adult supervision. This video is not aimed at the kids, it's aimed at the people that are probably going to be buying this. It's a great platform for educational, both to learn Arduino programming and also interfacing with a lot of low power but common kind of control mechanisms, including motors, sensors, cameras, compasses, etc, etc. Product features: main board Arduino R3, and it's a genuine R3 with the unpluggable ATmega 328p package, so if you ever do blow it up you can replace it easy enough. Arduino IDE or C++. It's got an ESP32 camera, a grayscale module. That's actually the array on the bottom of all the different little grayscale black line following circle of sensors. Transmit, receive, infrared. 90 minutes of playtime on the batteries. Remote control. You can also control it with a cell phone. Very easy to install and pair, and it actually transmits real-time video feed from the module as well, from the ESP32. Remote control via the handset as well as your phone. It's got 4 motors, RGB boards, battery charge time 130 minutes, so a couple of hours. Lots of different things that it can do. I'm not going to go through all of this website. It's a lot of really good information all about the projects that you can do with it individually as you learn programming, building up to what is pre-installed on the car when you get it. There's nothing to stop you uploading all of the simpler versions of the code if you want to just test out ultrasonics and things like that. It's all feedback and things. So yeah, pretty nice kit for the price, and as you'll see, we'll put it all together in this video and give it a quick test with the default settings. Alright, so let's open her up and see what we've got. So right off the bat, we've got a tutorial direction sheet. Looks like some basic tutorials here. We'll see what we can do with that. If there's tools in here, we'll try and use these rather than our own. So let's just get the boxes out. That's labeled number 2. Alright, let's take the manual here, or the sheet, and we'll see what it says. So we should probably take everything out. Looks like we do have 4 motors. So box number 1. Looks like the frame. That's the end of box number 1. Looks like we've got our tools in here as well. Let's get rid of the plastic bag, shall we? So we have screwdrivers, wrenches, looks like a bit of Velcro, and some cable ties. A whole bunch of screws, standoffs, spacers, probably, yep, more spacers. We got a few metal, feels like aluminum, nothing wrong with that. Pieces, oh, there's one we nearly lost. So let's just put those up here for the moment. Okay, there's our fancy wheels. Feels like it's made out of ABS or something like that. These are not, well, they're a little bit rubbery, so they might be TPU. So that's cool. We've got 4 of these. Let's put those out of the way. We have a battery pack. Looks like 2 18650 lithium batteries with a connector for the electronics. I don't know how well charged that is, but I've had it sitting here for a while. And we have some electrical tape. Box number 2, top one. I never actually opened the box up till now. So, whole boatload of jumper cables and things like that for assembly. Looks like an RGB strip. It is. There's 2 of those. Okay, cool. Are they addressables? No, they're not. They're just RGB. Okay, fair enough. Could be a fun upgrade at some time. Standard USB cable, probably for programming the Arduino. And we have an A to C cable here as well. I guess you don't need to see a close-up of that. It's pretty common. Got a remote control specifically for the car, or it says special for MP3. Alright, last box. This obviously has to be the electronics and everything. Alright, so what have we got here? This is the Omni Grayscale module. Yep, not very much connection wise, so I'll have a look at that when we get to it. We have 4 motors. They look like they're standard 2-wire DC motors, probably brushed with your pretty traditional motor mount, so you can put a wheel on either side. We have our ESP32 camera module. So yeah, we've got an ESP32 module and a little camera thing that just fell off into my hand. I'm not wasting too much time on these. We have seen these kind of things before, but this is the first one I've had from Sunfounder. Right, this one looks like the, quite a big inductor on there. This is the Sunfounder adapter card. It's probably going to have a whole bunch of pins to connect to the Arduino, which it does at the bottom. So we have a whole bunch of connectors. We've got an infrared remote receiver, USB-C, battery connection, probably an on-off switch, 4 connections for the motors, and we've got a whole power module here by the look of it with this inductor. We have a Sunfounder camera adapter board. Yeah, so you can see from here, this is just going to presumably plug right onto this. Camera's going to connect on the front. We've got a ability to put an SD card in here if we want to. That's that. We'll just leave that like that for the moment with the camera. We'll assemble that when we need to. So next up is another adapter card. This is the ultrasonic module by the look of it. Fairly classic HC-SR04. One of these modules transmits ultrasonic pulses, the other one receives them, and it does a time of flight to calculate how far things are away. Anyway, next up, let's have a look. This is the IR obstacle avoidance. So you've got an infrared transmitter, an infrared receiver. So we should have 2 of those. Yeah, here's the other one. Boop, boop. Okay, so that's exactly the same. So there's the 2 of those. And finally, we have the Arduino UNO. Now, I think it says in the original, I read somewhere it was an original Arduino UNO, which, okay, there's the Arduino R3. So it looks like it might be a genuine one with the Arduino official logos and things on the back. Now, the reason I'm saying I like these is because if you're experimenting and you're new to electronics, or not, I speak from experience, these 2 tend to get blown up a little bit, and if you have one in a socket, you can very easily buy an inexpensive 328p package and just drop it in as a replacement, reprogram it, and away you go. If you have one of these R3, R4 boards with the chip soldered directly to the board, a lot harder to replace it if you fry it. That's one of the reasons why I like this as a prototyping experimentation board if you're learning how to do programming and a little bit of industrial control and things like that. Alright, laid everything out. Got all the screws laid out here. You can see all the packets are really nicely and clearly labeled with what's inside each one. The instructions are pretty clear, so I'm just going to switch to a side view so it makes it easier, there you go, for you to see as we're doing things. Just going to pop the tools out, we'll see how good these are. Instructions. Part 1, we're mounting the motor, so I'm just going to go through these as it says, and it also looks like we're getting the infrared module on pretty quick. Anyway, let's just do the first motors. So we have this orientated the way it shows in the picture. Grab a motor, and we use two M3x25 screws. These are M3x25s here. Looks like we're going to use 2, 4, 6, 8 of them, I guess. So we've got the screws going through, a washer and a nut on each one. They're probably locking washers. I'll have a close look in a second. So we've got the nuts, yeah, spring washers they're calling them, but they're ones that bind when you tighten them up so that it doesn't come undone easily. And if you've got a car rattling around, that's the last thing you want, is screws coming loose and your motor coming off. So grab a motor. So we've got the holes on the side here. So first things first, get the 2 screws through. Hold it still. Put a lock washer on each one. And a nut. Screw down. Screw much. Alright, that's one done. Just do the other one off camera and we'll continue. Okay, that's the second one on the rear end done. We now have to do the front 2 right here. 1, 2. So they mount in a very similar way. They're just 90 degrees of the other ones. So I'll just quickly mount these and then I'll be right back. Okay, just need to tighten up the last one and we'll be done with the motors. So far the tool seems to be working okay as far as not hurting my hands or anything else. Having these spring washers is a welcome addition. I've seen them in other, I've built other kits very much like this, just without the Omni wheels or whatever they call them. And they haven't had spring washers, so you have to tighten them up and put Loctite on or something like that if they keep coming loose. So, okay, we're done at that point. So the next point, it looks like, is to assemble the ultrasonic sensor that goes on the front, and we're going to be using a 4-pin cable and a couple of insert plastic rivet things. So let me grab those bits. I have 4 of them. Let's grab the ultrasonic module. Yeah, we want the plug pointing up, but you can see why they ask you to put the cable on first, because if you don't, you won't be able to get it on afterwards. So let's get a cable out of the pack. Plug that in there. That's smaller, so there's only one way it's going to go. I like the fact that everything seems to be keyed and sized so that there can't be any mistakes. The rivets go through from the front. They are not going to go into the holes that are on the ends of here, that's for sure. What they do use is this bracket. You can see here, the rivets through the front, that's clamped in, and then there's the bar runs down the back of it. So that's going to run down the back. I guess it just sits on top of those ICs. So it won't even let you put it in wrong, which is really nice. Alright, so a little hole for the connectors to go in, hole for the crystal to stick through, and we need to push, and like they expand out on the inside. Computers, you know, for connecting the processor heatsink onto the board where they splay out as the pin goes through. That's good, nothing looks like it's shorted. So the next one is putting in standoffs and bracket for the camera module. So the standoffs are M3x28s, and we need M3x6 screws. We have this facing this way relative to my diagram and me. And there should be 2 holes at the front, either side of here. And 2 holes behind there at the back. So we just use one of these screws. They're screwed underneath. Oh, it's going to hold that light bar, isn't it? That's what it's going to do, probably. The big circular light thing and stuff like that. That's one. Okay, there's 2. And 3 and 4. Hold in place. Just 2 sandals on. You don't need to massively tight, you do need to hold them. You don't use hold them up, rather. Don't screw them in. Nip it up tight. Nip it up tight. That's the standoff's done. So, next we have the C plate. Legs go to the back, and we're using 2 M3x6 screws to screw it in. I guess we need to pull the wire up through from the ultrasonic sensor as well. And it looks like it may already be threaded. Yep. These 2 holes just here are already threaded for the M3x6 nuts, and we put it that away. But let's get this cable up here first. That runs to the back, like so. We pull it up through the hole. That's from the ultrasonic sensor. Is that the only wire that we got to worry about? Yep, so far. And this is going to straddle that cable like that. I think if I remember, I took the last 2 that I built, I actually took to England with me on a trip and gave them to my grandchildren. So I don't have them here to compare to. So okay, there's that nicely mounted. That's pretty close to the way the diagram shows. The next piece is to get the camera adapter board with a 7-pin cable and mount it to the frame with 3 M3x6 screws. I don't know. Yep. So it needs to go at the cable coming out at the bottom, pushing towards the back, but we need the 7-pin cable. Right, so that's that inserted in there. That's going to screw on here, right on the back, and then this is going to run to the back as well. So 3 M3x6 screws. Put my driver somewhere. You're putting these ones in, don't tighten them up too much first, because you'll want to be able to line up the other holes before you tighten them. Right, just nip those up. There are no spaces. It looks like all of these boards have been designed nicely to not have any metal to metal contacts. So the next part is to take the camera module and mount it to the front. We haven't yet put the camera module on here yet though, so let's do that while we're waiting. So what it does is it sits in here this way. So what you have to be very careful of, I'm going to do this under the other camera, I think. So these little bars, sometimes they come out over, sometimes they lift up over, and I think this one is a lift up kind, to let the cable go in. You can get your finger, be very gentle. Alright, and now it's lifted up. See, it's sitting high there now. Alright, and then the cable goes in here. Alright, it'll push in. There's a bit of tape on the back of the camera. We're not going to do that right now. But let's get that pushed in here. Just gently. It'll only go in one way, and you'll feel it slide in nicely. And then once that's done, you just rock that tab back down, and it locks it in place. Now we can take the tape off the back, and we can stick this to the SD card. Don't take the protective cover off the lens. Sorry, there's a bit of tape on the back, double-sided. I've just taken the piece off. Now that that's in place, we can lay this down and just stick it onto the SD card holder. Leave the protective cover on it for now, and that's done. Now we can go back to our car And do the side view. There we go. And we're going to put it on. Certainly not that way. So upside down, I think, probably. Like that. Yeah, this shows it with the camera itself, the camera module on the bottom. And we just push that in. And there's the camera done. Just remember, if you start getting pictures and they're all blurry, you probably forgot to take the bit of cover off of the lens. I'll leave it on for now to protect it. Alright, so looks like step 11, 12, and 13 is mounting 1, 2, 3, 4, M3x14 plus 6 standoffs. 4 of them on the inner side, and then 2 at the front, M3x5 plus 6 standoffs. So let's start with the M3x14s. They're probably to mount the Arduino board onto. The other 2 are going to be for mounting the infrared collision sensor ones. So sometimes if you back the thread back reverse before you go forward and you hear it click down into the slot. Then you can just take your little nut driver, stick it on the top, just spin it down. Now don't do these too tight because you will snap them. It's these ones here, M3x5 plus 6. Right, that's that done. So next step is to take the 2 obstacle avoidance little module. That's these. We've got 2 of them, and I guess you want the lenses facing forward, so that's going to mount one on each side like that, using a M3x6 screw, and we'll use the wrench here to hold the stand off while we tighten it up. There we go, that's working. And we'll do the same with this one. Yep, that's good. Now we need to find some wires, which are going to be 3-pin cables. These have got 4 pins on each of these sensors, but it just shows us using 3 of them, so we're ignoring the one on this side. Black goes to the far side. That's going to go in like that. Same with this one. Black is ground, +5, and then out is the grey wire on the far end. So that'll work for that. That brings those back. Looks like next we mount the Arduino UNO. So we're attaching the Arduino UNO now here. And the sockets are coming out this side, this far side of it. We're going to mount this way, okay? And that is, nope, not standoffs, just 4 more of these M3x6 screws. 1, 2, Alright, that's the Arduino mounted. Now we put the Zeus shield on top of the Arduino. If you look at Arduinos, the way the pins are set, there's an offset gap on one side, so these will only plug in one way. And I would imagine, so just have a little look before you push them in, and then you can just drop down the adapter, and there we go. There's that in place. Now it's all about connecting cables by the look of it. So the first thing is the camera cable coming up the side. This big one right here. So that's going to come straight into this connection. Again, you just need to gently push them into place. Make sure they seat right home. Next one is the ultrasonic. That goes next to the camera module. This one's the ultrasonic microphone. That's plugging in. So there. Now I've got the right sensors. Those 2 freaking cables we just ran. That's these 2 here. Right, those 2 modules. So that's the left one, that's the right one on this side. So there's the left and where's it pointing to? That one is these 2 little connectors here. And the left one is this way, that's the left one, that's this one. They keep them all the same size, which is nice. And these guys just like, you can't just put the plastic on the wires, you don't want to break the wires. Plug it in, plug it in. Right, so in. Camera looks like right now. So now we have the motors to go in. So left front So it's M0, M1, M2, M3 according to the board. So it looks like all the motor wires need to come out this hole here, where they're underneath already. So this is left front. Now it's right front. Get that one out. That one goes in the next slot. Now we've got right rear, which is this one. And we can bring these underneath, which would be probably neater, and across. So we'll bring this underneath. And the right rear goes to the next one in line. And the final one is left rear. And we drop that in the last slot. Alright, that's those done. I think we're almost there. So the next thing is putting that Velcro sticker in on the underside in between all the batteries. Let's grab one of the cable ties and we'll neaten the wires up underneath. And this. Made it a little bit neater, and on the top, and we take our Velcro strip. I've got the hook side here, and we stick it in between these little marks that are on the board. That's for our battery to go in. So the other piece is going to go on here, obviously. Now, I guess the question is, which way is the cable going to come out? So it's coming out to the front this way. As it plugs in, I'm guessing right there. This connector, so coming out this front hole would be good. They want us to plug it in already, so we'll do that. Now we want to put, I guess, RGB light strips. Might as well put all of these things in. Put them on this, I guess, by the look of it. They haven't mounted that yet, but they want the light strips to be passed through first. I can't think that these are not going to be simply run in parallel anyway. They're going to be plugged into the two backlight, front light. Okay. Easy to change if I've got it wrong. So they're plugged in here, next two connections. Not quite sure what happened there. 4 screws to hold this in place. Actually, let's just decide which one's going to be the front one first, and we'll run the wire underneath for that one. It says the front one is the one, this one is the front one. So this is the front one. That's the back one, so we'll just run that along and plop it in that way. So, here's our front one. One, 2, 3, 4, and I guess we just peel the tape off and stick them down. That's 1 and 2. So that's those done. Now we put the roundy thing on. So we need M3 by 5 plus 6 standoffs, 4 of them. So we can mount our Omni Grayscale module. Let's just screw these in. I'm following the instructions precisely in here, just to see if they're all good. 2. Yeah, 3. And this is going to go on here, but it's going to need a cable. So that's going to be a 6-pin, which is probably this one. Cables face this side, which is the back of the unit. So it's going to go through that hole with all the other cables. Don't know if the battery's charged up yet, so I might have to give it a 10 or 15 minutes while it charges a little bit. It's been sitting for a while. I still have some cables left. I got 3 more cables here. Not sure what they're going to be for, but I got them. I think this plugs into the little gap that's left here. It's the only place left for a cable to go in. Like that. So there's that one. So we've just done this step, just done here. So the next thing is to put the wheels on. So we've got 4 wheels. It looks like they're showing some little inserts as well. So it's nice that they're providing spare screws, that's for sure. So these wheels do have these are the little bits that they were showing. Adds a bit of trim, I guess. Anyway, yeah, it just shows you 1, 2, 3, 4 wheels. So let's get these put in. They only go in one way, they're keyed and tight. Take a long screw. That's one. All right. I think. Yep, that was the last step. After assembling the 4 wheels, the car is complete. Please take care of the direction of the 4 wheels. Oh, I didn't pay attention. I think I've got them. I got to turn them around. Anyway, that is the entire build done. Let's just pull the tab out of the remote. That should turn it on. So we need to charge this before we can do anything. So I'll be back in a little bit when it's charged, and we'll do a quick basic test. I will actually do a full play with this in a separate video. Okay, had a while to charge up. That's now complete. So let's see if this thing is supposed to have the main program installed by default, so we should be able to make it respond to the remote control. If I just bring up the manual a second, you'll see where it tells us all about that. 1 second. And here's the remote control. Okay, here is the mapping over the top for the direction. So what we were interested in is the bottom ones and these 2 here. I don't have a lot of room on my bench. I just want to show it that it's all working and everything else, and maybe we'll do the calibration, compass calibration, and it should all work. So let's get back to the main side view. Give it a go. So here's the power switch. It's 2 things. You have to make sure this switch at the back here is set towards the cables, which is the run mode. If you put it to the other side is the programming mode, and it disconnects the camera from the Arduino because it needs the transmit receive pair for programming. So flip it back and it reconnects everything. Now if we power it up, we should get blue lights underneath after a second. Not quite blue, but close enough. And with the remote control now, this upper right one should be the calibrate compass, which I want to remember, it makes it spin around for up to a couple of minutes. If you go back to there, it'll make it spin around for a couple of minutes so that there's a magnetometer on board compass device, so it would calibrate it. So let's give that a go first, because theoretically it's not going to go anywhere. Get back, I'm going to push that button. I guess it does have the programming built in. Enough of that. So now what we've got is different modes of driving. You can go left and right with 4 and 6. I guess it keeps going until I tell it otherwise. Two red buttons, the U/SD and the squiddly diddly thing here. These 2 red ones will make it circle to the left or circle to the right, I think. Yep. I think follow might work. I don't know, let's give it a go. Yeah. I guess it's object following. It's gonna follow my hand. Or whatever object you give it, I guess. That's using the camera. I guess it won't back up. Let's stop that. So what else do we have? Obstacle avoidance. That's probably going to use one of either the infrared or the ultrasonic. This one. So let's put my hand here, see what it does. I guess it's finding a lot of obstacles around my bench, so it's constantly trying to avoid them. That's kind of cool, keeps it on the bench. I just wanted to show you that it's been built now, it's all working. It's got these weird wheels, I can't remember what they call them now. Hold on. Alright, so this is the app. I've just installed it. Very simple, very easy to install. Just go to the App Store, whether it be for Apple or for Android. This is the Android version. So I've got the Zeus Car. I've already added it. When you click there, it will try to automatically connect, and you'll find it will fail. And the reason for that is because you need to connect to its Wi-Fi first. Let's just do that with my phone. And what you'll see is the Zeus Car as an option. Alright, so we pick Zeus Car. And I've already signed into this once, so it's now signed in. The password is just simply 1234567 or that's the default password. You can change it in the code to whatever you like, and you can even reprogram it very simply to connect to your Wi-Fi, in which case you'd be able to use some features fully connected to the Wi-Fi, like speech control of the movement of the car, but it does require the Wi-Fi working. It should find it this time. There we go. So that's the default control. I can do things like calibration again. So if I put the car in the middle, I press play, and you can see the camera's streaming as fast as it can. Let's stop that. Oh, I guess it stopped because it got calibrated quickly. But if I can't take the camera, I can, as you can see here, I can point it around, giving quite a reasonable picture. It is a low down picture though, as you can see. I turn off the camera. I think the rest still works. No, looks like you have to have play turned on all the time. So I'm controlling it by sliding these buttons and things on here. Not enough space to do everything on the bench, but that basically gives you an idea that the app for the phone is very easy to use and install and get done. It's the same as any other app store. You just install it, open it, connect, and away you go. Just remembering to connect to the Wi-Fi access point that's on here. It's just Zeus Car with an underscore in between, and 1234567 is the default password. I actually didn't say that in the paperwork that came with it. Anyway, that completes this. I'm planning on doing a few videos, potentially using this as a development base, just on motor control, infrared sensing, receiving, the ultrasonics, etc., etc. Just as individual exercises. I may use the car in some of them, and I may just use other pieces with an Arduino R3 or equivalent on the bench, and yeah, it'll be fun and a bit more interested to some other of you that are not necessarily interested in 3D printing. Anyway, that's it for now, so I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.